Hello everyone, Darkgeyser here, welcoming you back to the 13th episode of my Space Engineers Survival build. I apologize for having been gone for the last few weeks. Real life sort of got ahead of me, but now we're back on track, and this is a very exciting episode, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. I'm upside down. Okay, let's not do that again. First of all, we have the stern of the ship, which I have almost completed framing out the area around the primary thrusters. And for those of you that have been watching the earlier episodes and have seen some of the pictures that I'm using as my inspiration and motivation for getting these areas done, this is pretty close to what the final shape is going to look like. I am going to extend an armored shroud all around these thrusters so that they cannot easily be targeted from any side, top, or bottom. From the rear, they're just really huge, and there's no way for me to protect them really well except to put a metric ass load of guns on the stern of the ship and basically shoot at anything that tries to come around in the back to shoot at them. So the thrusters are actually going to be something of a vulnerable point. We're going to have to work on that. Now, I've also managed to frame out the most of the top of that engine room as well as the top of this one. And I finished off the sidewall over here as well. And so we're going to be moving towards getting all of that welded up. I have that entire side welded up except for some areas that I have missed. And I've managed to weld up, oh, I missed a section over here. I've managed to weld up most of the section going up the middle and most of the area of the bow. Again, I have a few areas that I may have missed, and then I started running out of steel plate again. So we have, I have a section, something going on up here. Ow. Okay, not really sure what went on here. We're going to have to figure this out. The other exciting development, and I have to thank the developers for this one. Whatever changes that they have been making over the last few weeks, they have been steadily increasing my frame rate to the point where the entire map is much more playable. The entire project is much more workable. And whatever they did last week, they managed to fix whatever the memory leak problem was, but just before I started recording this episode, I managed to get the entire project flipped over to actually being a ship. So my Battlecruiser is no longer a station. It is now actually a ship. To give you a demonstration, and I think I know where that damage over there came from, when I converted it, the first thing that it did was start to tilt. I don't know why. I have gyroscopes. I have them engaged. I don't know whether I accidentally moved the mouse while I was in the cockpit or what have you, but the thing started to tilt. And to give you an idea of how far things shifted, these two ships were connected, or very nearly so. This is my new mining craft, the Arrow. And I had just detached it after dropping off all of my iron ore. And so it was floating within a few meters of this coupling here. And then I went ahead and I converted the station to a ship, and everything started moving. But let me show you, if I can get to the point where I'm not drifting around, as we have on the info panel, and here we are. Convert to ship is no longer an option. We have thousands of conveyors, 20 thrusters right now, 150 lights, a whole bunch of blocks and non-armor blocks. The current mass of the ship, and I would estimate that it's probably somewhere between 10 and 15% done, is 383 million kilograms. And we have over 5 million triangles on the project. So this gives you an idea of how big this is. And I apologize for the drop in frame rate, but as I start looking over the length of the project, if I'm looking at something fairly close, my frame rate climbs back up. The minute I start to encompass more of the project, then my frame rate drops. It's still double digit, but it's really, really slow. So I can only hope that the changes that the developers have made that have helped improve the frame rate will continue. Now, after I went ahead and converted it to a ship, so whether it works well or not, the ship is now a ship. I'm pretty sure that I cannot steer it in any reasonable fashion. At least not yet. And I'm also pretty sure I ran around and I threw some thrusters on at the corners to try to keep the thing from drifting, and that apparently has worked. I had some thruster components left over from putting in the thrusters on the stern and the Atlas thrusters here that I'm using as my primary braking. But the entire thing is a ship, and so now what I have to work on, other than I've got most of the deck welded up, some things broke when the ship got converted, and I'm not sure whether that's a bug in the system or whatever. Obviously, there was some area up front there that for some reason basically exploded and disintegrated. So now I need to figure out what the hell happened up there. But I also have to, my new goal, other than finishing up welding all of the decking, I now have to get more power to the ship. There is no way that I can get anything moving or make it in any way controllable until I get more power. So I'm going to be making lots of reactor components, and I'm going to be building lots of reactors. My hat is off again to, I believe Xbar is the creator of these wonderful reactor mods that he has done that make the fusion reactors or the nuclear reactors look so much nicer and so much more interesting. I plan on putting a lot of these out here. I had sussed out before that I needed 90 gigawatts of power in order to properly operate everything and still have enough of a cushion that I don't have to worry about overloading thrusters and or overloading reactors. And heaven only knows what's going to happen. You take something this big and you overload the reactors because you're trying to turn too sharply or whatever. I shudder to think what's going to happen. So from here on in, I may have the autosave turned off, or I may leave it on. Not really sure. I'm going to have to take a couple of guesses at that. So now, once I get to the point where the ship will actually move, and it figures that I spent more than a day putting the Arrow together as my new mining ship, when I discovered last episode that I could not convert the ship without wrecking my rig and completely stalling out the game. So I cannibalized the entire top row of drills for construction components and so forth in order to move them over here and put everything back together. So now, when I get to the point where the ship will actually move, now I need to go ahead and take the front end off of this and put it back. But this is how we do things. This is how we learn. You do stuff, you learn things. If you do it wrong, well, you better learn not to do it wrong again. That's part of the learning process of life. So a shorter update today. I wanted to let everybody know that yes, indeed, we have definite progress. The project is now a ship. So, as I said, busy day, very, very exciting for me at least. I was not sure that the thing would actually function, and now I know that it will. So again, now I'm really looking forward to final touches that the developers are going to put on Space Engineers. Imagine what will happen when the game will actually be optimized correctly and will utilize all of the computer cores that most of us have available for our computing power. how cool is the game going to be and how smooth is the game going to be then? Keep our fingers crossed. As always, likes are appreciated and subscriptions doubly so. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope to see you again next Wednesday, and we'll let you know how we're doing. Hopefully the ship will move and I'll be able to control it. Wouldn't that be nice? Thank you very much for watching. This has been Darkizer, signing off.